Oh, this is the it's a lot of drama going around about Charlie. Moist critical. See, Moist critical in his when he faces any amount of backlash. Okay, I know for a fact. Okay, Charlie, Moist critical. Penguin, he is not. He is not quitting the internet. He said it himself. He's quitting a podcast. That's all he's doing. And I can't believe people are. I know firsthand. I'm not even a big content creator at all, but I know firsthand people just like to pull stuff straight out of their ass. I can only imagine how it is for somebody like his size. See, Moist Critical believes children should be able to transition genders if their parents consent. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, I watched this video about talking about his drama and everything. And is this the question? Hold on.
Run.
Show update. Goodbye, Charlie. Hey, everyone. Charlie has made the decision to leave both the original podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on a different. Why do people do this? Cause it even says it right here. He's just leaving 2 projects. That doesn't mean he's leaving everything completely. When the fuck did he post that? We're gonna watch it. I mean, I know his stuff is gonna go way farther than mine, but I mean, for the people, it may be like 1 or 2 of you out there who just watch my content. I don't know. Moist critical situation is crazy.
Heavens to Betsy, what a week, huh, sports fans? Holy Toledo. Yeah, so Moist Critical's in a big oopsie-poopsie situation here. It reminds me of the time in Moonfall when Casey Houseman sacrifices himself and dies of cringe to become the moon. Yeah, so, being serious now, since this has become such a big issue, I've been in a lot of drama recently. I'm in hot water, and I'm biting on the fart bubbles that pop up in the bathtub here. It is
Fucking stupid,
a lot.
man.
So let's start with the most recent one today. My retirement. I didn't know I was retiring. That's news to me. I'm as shocked as all of you are. I had a ton of fun last night playing a game called Clickleding, which is basically like a cuckoldry simulator, but for clicking against like the Lorax in a hotel room. And I just did like an old school gameplay commentary video. I was bubbly, full of jubilation. I posted it today only to learn that I'm just a big old fucking liar. Liar, plants for hire, I suppose. Apparently, and I didn't know this until I posted the video, everyone was under the impression that I was quitting the internet. So I started scratching at the hair on my chinny chin, wondering, when the fuck did that happen? Was I sleepwalking? Do I have somnambulism? Is this some kind of like, Fight Club situation? Instead of like Tyler Durden, I have fucking Charles Turden here that's just making wrong announcements. It turns out the patient zero behind all of this was a post Jackson made announcing that I would be leaving the podcasts, which is something I thought about periodically for quite a few months now, mainly because I started to recognize that I was becoming the very thing I'd make fun of with being chronically online. Like, I just was always online, and the podcasts were a big proponent of that, and I just kind of wanted to scale back the amount of time I spend online. So, and I kept Jackson in the loop the whole time here about where my head was at, and last week I told him, hey man, I think this is going to be where I hang up the jersey. You can put it in the rafters, throw it in the dumpster, but I think I'm just going to be, sailing off into the sunset here and just reducing the amount of stuff I do online, which he completely understood. So he made the announcement just letting people know that, and then that got spun on Twitter and Reddit as Moist Critical's taking an indefinite hiatus and quitting the internet fundamentally. Don't know when I'll be back, he's
Look, I'm not saying all of you on the internet, you know, Twitter, YouTube, or anything like that. Like, all, I'm not saying all y'all are crazy or weird, but some of you are, and some of y'all, like, this is coming from a dyslexic person. Y'all don't know how to, either y'all don't know how to read, or y'all just don't want to read, or look up, look into something just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, like I said, some of y'all, not everyone, some of y'all can have, very good, constructive, conversations, criticisms. But a few of y'all on the internet are just weird and like to pull shit out of your ass. Just pull it right out of your ass. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I've only seen like a little tiny bit of it. A little tiny bit. I'm not even a big creator. I got, what, 800 something subscribers on YouTube. 41 followers on Twitch. And like almost 3,000 on TikTok. And like, I don't even know how many on Instagram. Like, how many do I have on Instagram? I have about 320 followers on Instagram. So I'm not a big creator, no means. But I seem like a little tiny bit, like a little tiny bit of how someone can just pull some shit out their ass. Just pull right out and just say what, like, what? In this whole situation right here, just because he quit one or two projects. No, this kind of scale back a little bit. He's quitting the internet. This looks him up a little bit. But we're gonna watch this whole video.
Done with the internet because of all this controversy. Patui on his grave. He's gone. When looking at the post, I don't even know where that's coming from. It's literally just talking about the podcast.
Yeah.
Just stepping away. Like, it doesn't extend beyond that. I can't even wrap my tiny noodle around how anyone could perceive this as me being done with the internet entirely, but that's the story that they ran with, and that's what most people saw, not the actual post. So everyone thought I was quitting the internet, so I posted that video that I was really happy with because it just felt like an OG old school video that made me happy, and then bang! Just a flood of comments and dislikes all saying shit like, how could you fucking deceive us? I thought you quit, huh? What happened to leaving, huh? I just read this post on Twitter from an account that had a profile pic of titties photoshopped onto Thomas Edison that said you were done, and it had 50,000 likes, so I know it was true, and you're just a fuck.
Some of y'all, I'm not saying everyone, not everyone, but some of y'all, fucking idiots, man. Oh, I seen this post and it had, 100,000 likes. It has to be true. No, it doesn't have to be true just because it gets a lot of views or likes. How about doing a little bit of research, just a couple clicks. That's all you gotta do, a couple clicks. Oh, he's not quitting the internet. He's just leaving a few projects. Oh man, that was hard to actually look up. Well, I can see why. That's good for him. But no, see a post. Oh, Charlie is quitting the internet? Oh wow. Then he posts a video where, oh my gosh, well, Charlie, you're a liar. You said you're quitting the internet. Well, there's nowhere in that post where he said he was quitting the internet. It's like, oh my god, Joe just kill me sometimes. Jesus Christ, man.
Fucking liar. I can't even just peacefully walk away from some projects without it being a massive fucking reaction over actual nothing burger information. And trust me, no one has a palate more refined for nothing burgers than me. I have ranted about the stupidest shit of all time, but this was mind-boggling even for me. So to set the record straight, no, I'm not retiring, despite what the experts are telling you. All I did was walk away from a couple of projects. Like, that's really it. Like, that's a pretty normal thing to do, especially when one of them I've been doing for like 8 years. I really didn't think it was that deep, especially not deep enough for how big of a story it's become with all of the wild narratives running around about the true reason that I stopped doing it.
Oh, the true
So
reason.
let's
That's
get into that drama. I've talked about it on stream.
let's hear the true reason why he's quitting the internet. I think I already know sort of one. Everybody thinks it's because of Sneeko.
I don't even know how many times at this point, but we'll just talk about all of it in this video here. So, when covering the Ava Tyson situation, I was attacked by a lot of people for not being quick enough. Even though I covered it within like the first 6 hours, people were unsatisfied that I hadn't made a video within like the first fucking 20 minutes of it dropping. And then when I did finally finish the full video covering all of it, it was another massive problem where now I only did it out of an obligation because people called me out, and then I also got accused of being a transphobe because I didn't use Ava Tyson's preferred pronouns, which were she, her. I didn't know that. I thought just calling Ava Tyson by her name was okay, and
Okay, look, first of all, I want to say, if I start getting big and you expect me to, you know, at the drop of a dime to react to something, like something very like controversial or something, you know, don't expect that, because I'm gonna watch whatever I want to watch when I want to watch. I don't care what. I appreciate y'all and everything, but some of this stuff, like, you know, it can be hard, like, you know, watching and reacting and talking about a lot of negative stuff. I don't want to talk about negative stuff all the time, so don't expect me to, at the, you know, a flip of a hat, a drop of a dime, you know, soon as something happens, you want me to watch it or talk about it, make a video on it right then, like an hour, 2 hours later. That's not how this is not how this is gonna work. I look, I just like to watch stuff, get my opinion on it, whatever it is. Like what, yesterday, I posted just a video on Stroud and his cool stuff. Like, I want to see cool, happy, wacky stuff, not all this YouTuber did this live streamer did that. Like, I don't care. I really don't care about every single YouTuber or live streamer. Oh, you know, whatever they do, oh, I mean, you may get, oh, well, that's bad sometimes. Like, that is horrible. What the fuck is freaking weird? You know, sometimes you may not get a full video out of me, because I have seen how the more controversial stuff can get way more views. You know, I do see that. I'm not stupid. If I want to get a lot of views, just do some controversial stuff all the time. But I don't want to do that. I try to be a happy guy. I want to see some happy, cool, funny stuff. And I want to do cool, like, you know, cool, funny, happy stuff. But I you know, he's been doing this way longer than me, and I can see how that can kind of, you know, weigh on you, and especially when people expect you, like, soon as something happens, they want it right there and then. Like, you should be responding on this 10 minutes after it breaks. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, we're just calm down.
I also heard when I went to the Mr. Beast thing, someone refer to Ava Tyson with they. So I was truly under the impression that that was okay. And for that, I was annihilated by a good chunk of Twitter. And then annihilated by another good chunk of Twitter because I called out Sneeko, who was the main proponent, about me covering for Mr. Beast to keep the collab alive. I wasn't talking about Ava Tyson because I wanted the Mr. Beast collab. And I talked about how absurd that statement was, especially given his history with fighting against the age of consent. He's been very vocal about how much he hates the age of consent, and so
Which is weird. I don't care. I don't care. That is weird. Look, see, Sneeko, look, man, he's just a little fucking goblin cuck rat. That's all he is. Like, I don't care. I really don't like Sneeko, like, at all. Like, he's a cuck, and this whole, like, age of consent, you know, defending cuties and stuff. It's fucking weird. Like, you are like one of the weirdest people on the internet, dude. Like, I
talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people, where I never talked about Ava Tyson and only talked about Sneeko. So it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk
what the
about
fuck?
what Sneeko was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like, well, he was going to cover for Mr. Beast until Sneeko called him out. So, like, if I didn't do it, I would have been attacked. I did do it, still got attacked. It really was unwinnable. But from that spawned a conversation where I talked to Sneeko directly, because he was very upset that I was talking about how him rallying against the age of consent is pedophile arguments, like defending pedophilia. As I've said since the very beginning of this channel, I'm always willing to engage with people I disagree with, and I thought that maybe there was a chance I misunderstood what he was trying to say, even though it's still abhorrent. I thought, okay, maybe he's not actually trying to defend pedophilia. He's like
So he's saying he's not trying to defend pedophilia. Sneeko, come on. You saying, oh, what are you talking about, bro? You talking about kids should be able to get married at the age of 13, 14. You are saying as soon as the kid is, you know, developed, they should be able to be doing all this stuff, you know, not mentally, but physically. And that's so bad. Like, that's so fucking weird, bro. Like, no. I don't care how, you know, when kids hit puberty, because a kid can hit puberty at 13, 14, 15, around that age. That's not acceptable to be getting married or being in a sexual relationship. No, I don't care when your body, goes through puberty or matures. No. I feel like you have to be at least, where it's at right now, 18, or even I wouldn't mind if it would be 20, to, you know, when you should be like, getting married or whatever. Because I believe that it shouldn't be going off your body. It should be going off your brain, your mental, you know. How mature are you, like, mentally and stuff? And I feel like a lot of people don't get there to like their mid-20s, early 30s, like, cause we're fucking dumb when we're, preteens and teenagers. We're fucking dumb. Some of these, like, there's exceptions, but some of these people should not be having kids. Some of these people should not be getting married at that young of age, at 18 or whatever. So like, no, 14, 15, 16-year-olds should not be able to get married because they don't know a lot. They don't know what it takes to be married, to raise a family or anything like that. They don't know really how to take care of themselves. They even, a lot of 15, 16-year-olds, they haven't even had a job. Sneeko, calm your ass down, and you're over here defending cuties. Get the fuck out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face, man. Like, go to your little corner and watch your little girlfriend do what she needs to do. I'm sorry. He just pisses me off so much.
Some kind of pseudo-intellectual debate bro who's trying to say something else. So I was willing to hear him out on it, and I talked to him in DMs, and he said he doesn't believe in the age of consent. He believes in the age of marriage, can't assign a number to it, but said that when someone can legally drive, they should be able to marry at the same time, which is literally like a 15 or 16-year-old, because you get your permanent 15, your license is 16, and both are way too young to be marrying. That shit is completely unacceptable. It is downright disgusting. He then said that he was happy to discuss it in a call, which I said I was willing to hear him out on, and he said that he would do it later because he was outside doing an IRL stream in Turkey. So I was willing to hear him out because, again, if this is some kind of crazy misunderstanding, I'd like to know that, because it'd be really fucking scary for someone in his position with his level of influence to be actually advocating for adults marrying and fucking children. That's a huge problem. That's a big fucking problem. So if there was something that he was trying to say but failing to do so, I was willing to at least...
It's weird. Why would you even say that? Like, do you want to marry... Like, how old is Sneeko? Like, he's like 20-something, right? He's 25. So what are you saying here, Sneeko? That you want to marry a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, being 25? Or does one of your friends? Like, how can you justify saying that? Like, I just don't get it. It's so, like, why would you? Like, it's a kid. I don't care if you want to call it the preteen, early teens, or whatever. It's still a kid in my book, and it's fucking weird. Like, why would you say that? I guess so you can, like, groom them, I guess. Because we all know that younger people are easy to groom. I guess that would be the reason. He or one of his friends or somebody around him would want to marry a 15-year-old or something. I don't know.
least hear it. And this is where the infamous debate came from. The debate that people are calling the debate of the century. I'm kidding, not a single soul on the planet said that. It's actually one of the most dog shit debates I think human beings have ever had. He eventually called me on Discord. I was under the impression this was just him and I talking. I had no idea this was going to be a debate. I thought he was going to try and explain himself like, hey, no, this isn't actually what I meant. This is what I'm trying to say. I thought this was a conversation between him and I, not this kind of debate show that he was putting on for his audience. There is nothing in our DMs that indicated that's where it was going. When I joined the call, he asked if I was going to record it, to which I said, I can if he wants me to, but I was also down to just talk. So I thought maybe he wanted it as a recording to like explain to people like, no, he's not actually a pedophile defender or advocating for that kind of thing. So I thought that is why he asked. I didn't know it was because it was being streamed, especially because one of his last DMs was about how he's doing an outside IRL stream and he would call me after. To me that says when he's done streaming, that's when we'll talk, not as a part of his stream. I didn't know this was a debate nor a stream until about an hour and 40 into it, roughly somewhere in that ballpark. I am not a debater. I've never claimed to be one. I never want to be a debater. I've always said that I believe conversations are the most productive because debates always devolve into what side can score the most points by explaining their thought process even if the position is wrong. Whereas a conversation is a very different thing to me. So I didn't even know
I can see that
this was. So, obviously, I was unprepared for a fucking debate. So I entered into the Thunderdome and we started talking. I made it clear that I found his statements on the age of consent and children marrying adults being fucking hideous. Absolutely revolting. And then he started arguing about, well, what is a child? We must define a child, you know. It's not actually being under 18. It's all a bunch of hooey. And I really think if you have to start...
What? That is horrible. If you have to go straight to what is a child, okay? It's not described under 18. What is a child? Like what? Like, be quiet, weirdo. Like what?
Arguing about, well, what technically is a child? You're already way too far gone. Like, that is so fucking weird. And in no uncertain terms, multiple times throughout the debate, Sneeko says that he is okay with people that are aged 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 marrying adults that are 18 or older.
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for, I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore, anyone. Do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
Can I say, I really can't stand his face. He looks like a straight dumbass. A fucking cuck. Like, he looks like one of those guys who would be sitting in the corner while his girl is, you know, doing stuff.
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it, why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Even get back a little bit, do you think there's not a problem with a child being with an adult?
Okay. We haven't even agreed upon what it's...
Okay, what the fuck did you say? Let's go back to this real quick.
Marriage where the father consented and the daughter consented and it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it. Why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
Even
that's not how it works most of the time. Most of the time, it's a 20-something-year-old man or 30 or whatever trying to get with like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, whatever. And a lot of the time, the family is not okay with that. Either side is not okay with that. Like, no one in their right mind is going to be okay with that because it's weird, and that's a child. It's a fucking kid. Like, it's weird, bro.
back a little bit, do you think there's not a problem with a child being with an adult?
Okay. We haven't even agreed upon what a child and an adult is.
What the fuck, bro?
Under 18.
That's
child.
And I'm telling you, that's not even the definition of the...
What? Sneeko, you are... Oh my god.
What is the number? It needs to be a number or else you can do the same thing.
I just told you there's not a number.
But do you see why that's a problem?
No.
If there's no defined. So why can't a 12-year-old marry an 18-year-old?
Because most 12-year-olds haven't gone through puberty yet. And most 12-year-olds...
What if, as you just said, it changes? What if a 12-year-old went through puberty early, the parents consent, the 18-year-old and the parents consent? Can they do it?
Most likely that's not going to happen. You know why? Because Islamically, if
We're not talking most likely.
What?
Just say it.
If the families have consented, the kid is mature, the kid is ready.
A kid is not mature. I mean, they may be physically mature, but mentally, that's what he's not getting. A kid is not mentally mature to get married or consent to a sexual relationship. They're not. That's how people get, groomed, oh my gosh. They get groomed and stuff. And that's how bad stuff happens, like abuse and everything. Because a kid that age is not mentally mature enough to handle that situation with an adult.
Why should I stop
At 12 years old. At 12 years old.
If the kid is physically mature, the parents consent, both parties are
A
happy.
12-year-old being physically mature.
If that's the only line that actually makes sense.
Again, I don't think a 14-year-old can
That's
ever
the
be
only line that only makes
physically
sense.
mature.
Even though they literally can. Even though puberty actually defines that, it's fine.
I don't believe so. I was
Puberty-
14 once. I actually had a mustache when I was 14. Would you have looked at me and said I was physically mature enough to get married?
If you were physically mature, if you were mature, yes, I would. Okay.
Really?
If you're
Not physically. No, they have to be mentally mature enough. And you cannot be Sneeko. You're so what the God mentally. You have to think about mentally. It's 15, 13, 16. They are not mentally mature enough to consent to get married or a sexual relationship. Fuck, can't talk. But no, just because their body, is maturing or whatever, that doesn't mean anything. I could have hit puberty at 13. I would not have been ready to be in a marriage or in a sexual relationship or any kind like that. I'm still a fucking kid. I don't know shit. Think about this. If you're not understanding what I'm saying, think about it like this. Okay? So let's say you're a kid. You're 13, 14 or whatever, you kind of, go through puberty kind of early, right? You meet somebody. Now, they can be the same age or whatever, or they can be older, right? Let's say they're older, right? Guy or girl. You meet this person and they groom you for a little bit and get you to be in a sexual relationship with them. Bam, guy or girl, you have a kid. How the fuck are you gonna take care of this kid? You can't. You don't have the experience. You never had a job before. You never been through anything. You don't have the mental, experience to go through this kind of stuff at 14 or whatever. But just because your body matured early, he's saying it's okay. It is not okay. It's not okay, brother.
You're 14.
Yeah. If you were 14 and you were ready to go and you met another 14-year-old, yes, I would.
No. We're talking adults. You keep going back to
That is adult.
I met.
I told you my definition.
Oh, so
I told you the definition.
adult.
The definition.
That is not
if
an
you
adult.
went through puberty, you're an adult.
No, you are not an adult if you just go through puberty. It's more than that. It's more than that. It's way more than that. Yes, maturing physically, going through puberty, that's one step of it. Mentally, that's another step. Going through experience, like there's a lot of people in their early 20s or whatever that I wouldn't consider an adult. Like, be quiet, you're still a kid, you don't know anything, you haven't been through life, you haven't matured, mentally yet.
That's the definition of adult. So yes, if you're an adult and you had a mustache, you're ready to get married, fine, okay?
Unironically, saying a 14-year-old adult, I think, would make most sensible people want to puke. There's so many instances of
Not
this,
wrong.
and a lot of the conversation was spent with him talking about like overseas age of consent, like talking about how Japan's age of consent was 13 for the longest time, this and that. But
So their age of consent was 13 for the longest time, but it's not that anymore. Let's go ahead and see Japan's age of consent. So he was right. It was 13, but it's 16, which is still, I don't know about that age, but it's not 13 anymore. It's not 13, 16. I mean, I would rather this be like 18 or 19, at least. But, it's not. It's
the
not
whole thing was like
13
pulling
anymore.
teeth, and it was fucking painful. And I think it's extremely alarming perspective to have. Unironically, calling a 14-year-old and 12-year-old mature enough for a marriage, those are middle schoolers. Like, holy shit. I think that is extremely concerning to be advocating for something like that. Like, would Sneeko be okay if his best friend ended up marrying a 14-year-old? He certainly should
Probably.
be. No one should be okay with something like
He'd
that.
probably be okay with
that's
it.
fucking terrible. That is actually terrible. But now, since
How
I wasn't
can you not be okay with it when you're over here advocating for it? You'd be a fucking hypocrite. Like, oh yeah, everyone else can do it besides the people around me, my friend group, and my family. So, so you can actually, when somebody outside your family or friend group does it, you can criticize them for doing it.
holding him to this topic or making sure it stayed on the topic I thought we were talking about. It went all over the place with a ton of different things, but the big one, and this is what most people have focused on, which was my response to his question about kids transitioning. And the way he would pose that question would be by asking if I thought it was okay if kids who want to switch their gender go to the doctor and get their dick cut off. Is it okay if a 9-year-old goes to a doctor and gets their cock cut off right then and there? And when posed with that question, I replied with yes. And I've talked about this on stream many, many times now, and I'll talk about it again here.
Ooh, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. You should always answer a question, especially if it's online and you're talking to somebody and, you think it's just a, off the wall, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like a stupid way to like word a question. You should still answer it seriously. I can see where Charlie's coming from. I mean, he totally fucked that up. He fucked that up bad, but I can see where he's coming from. Or like, well, he probably means, should a kid be able to transition? He's in his head. He's probably not actually thinking like, oh, can a kid actually go to the doctor and get his, dick cut off? He's probably just thinking, oh, he's probably wording it kind of, cringe-worthy, should a kid be able to go to the doctor and get his thing cut off? Yes, like, if you're thinking like that, like, yes. Wrong way to answer that question. I would have been like, no, I don't think a child should be able to go straight to the doctor and be like, doc, I want to be a girl now. Can you just snip this off? No, because it doesn't even work like that in the first place at all. It doesn't work like that. It's like going through that process and everything. It's a process. That's what it is. Like, it takes months to years to actually go through that process. As soon as a person, kid, teen, or adult, they just can't go to the doctor and be like, I want my thing cut off. They have to go through steps to actually do that, and that's like the last part if they want to do that. And I'm pretty sure when it involves a kid, I bet the parent has to be involved somehow and put in their input and everything.
I thought he was talking in hyperbole. I thought he was just exaggerating, being over the top, talking about the entire subject of transitioning. I had no idea that any living, breathing human being actually thought that that's how transitioning works, where you just go into a doctor saying, I feel like switching genders, and they lay you down on the operating table and just snip your whole fucking meat off. I didn't know that that's what he actually believed. I didn't know he was speaking literally. I thought he was just referring to the entire process of transitioning and just using this over-the-top statement to encapsulate all of it.
Yeah.
Because you literally cannot get that surgery unless you are 18. You actually have to go out of your way to be that stupid on the topic than you would just spending a couple of seconds looking it up.
I'm pretty sure, like, even before you're 18, you can go through the process, like taking the hormones and everything to begin the process. Then once you turn 18, you have that option to decide if you want to go with the operation or not.
Very rare cases where someone under 18 has had that surgery performed. That's not common. So I really didn't think that someone could be so dumb on the topic. I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole, which is my mistake. I should have been more clear instead of making an assumption that he was talking about something nuanced in an over-the-top way.
Yeah, you shouldn't make an assumption that he's not a dumbass. That's bad on your part, Charlie.
I haven't hid this take, and it's not a new take from me. I've talked about this a couple times throughout the years on stream. I have no complaints if a kid gets interested in transitioning and starts talking to their family about it. So their parents start talking to doctors, the kid starts talking to doctors and therapists and all of this, because the process of transitioning is one that takes place over the course of many years. It's not something that just happens like that. And I'm also not afraid to admit that I am not the most educated when it comes to transitioning. I am not someone that has a ton of knowledge about the subject to be speaking on it in a really in-depth manner. But even I know these very surface level things that everyone has easy access to understand. It is a long process, and I have no problems at all if a kid gets interested in that process and starts going through that process with proper care. And then when they reach the age where they can consider that surgery and decide they want to do it, then that's all power to them. That's entirely up to them. They have reached that age. They can now do that surgery if they want to. That is not a surgery that's being offered to like a 9-year-old who just says, I feel like changing genders today. It's just not how it works. And I didn't think that that's what was actually being discussed because it's so fucking silly. Now, I'm sure there's some really fringe cases you can point to where that kind of thing did happen, but it's not common. Thus, I didn't think that's what was being referred to in the conversation. And it is, again, my mistake for not recognizing that at that moment it was being spoken about literally. So all that shit that people keep dogpiling and spouting about me about how I want all kids to go out there and get their genitals chopped off is just fucked up. Like, it's so ridiculous. I recognize I did a horrible job of arguing in this debate, which isn't surprising considering I don't debate. This is not something that's in my skill set, which of course led to some embarrassingly dog shit arguments. Like the one I've seen people reference a couple times is when I briefly mentioned sports in this topic. It was a stupid point to try and make. I was getting hit by like some rebound psychic damage listening to some of the drivel brain rot that Sneeko was spouting about the age of consent, and I don't know why I thought this was like an argument to try and make, but I brought up sports in this subject, and I was going to try and elaborate on it, but didn't at all. What I was going to try and say is that when a kid gets interested in a sport, they'll talk to their parents about it, they'll research the sport, you know, go through the process of learning about it, and when it comes to transitioning, it's still a process where you talk to your family about it, you learn about it. Like it was it wasn't a point where
I don't know about that
changing
one, Charlie.
genders is a lot like picking between baseball and soccer.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
not what I was trying to get at, but because I didn't elaborate on it and it really wasn't a good argument to try and make in the first place, that's one people have harped on a lot. And I get it. Like I said, I am not a debater. Like I didn't go in here expecting a debate, so I had nothing prepared here for this inundation of outrageous questions and tangents. Like there was a point where Sneeko was trying to get me to say white power. Like the whole thing was a fucking mess. It was, without a doubt, probably the worst debate
What the fuck,
that
man?
video has ever been cursed with. And I really regret not doing a better job here. It's not something I should have even done in the first place. I just have a tendency to really hope for the best out of people, and I was really hoping that
Yeah, when you go into a conversation with a debater, expect a debate. Simple as that. Just expect a debate, like, because they're gonna argue. They're gonna, yeah. Just always expect that. You're bad, Charlie.
most people were wrong about Sneeko's perspective on the age of consent. However, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be the case. He was very adamant about this position, and I did a terrible job in arguing with him, and I did a terrible job of articulating my beliefs. I am supportive of the LGBTQ+, and I have been, and that's not something I've been shy about. I just wish I did a better job of expressing that. To be open and honest here, and I've talked about this a lot, I've always treated my channel kind of like a diary for myself, which is why I just talk about so much different nonsense and so many things that I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about, but some of it's fun for me to talk about, or some of it's just things I care about.
He's a
So being
talker.
totally honest.
He's a talker. He's a talker like me. He just likes to talk. I'm a straight fucking goddamn idiot, you know, with dyslexia that really doesn't help me out. And I just like to talk. Okay? I just like to talk with you all, everyone, you know, when it's reasonable. And like I said, don't pull stuff out of your ass. Okay? Actually watch my videos. Give me some constructive criticism, you know. Don't go into left field out of nowhere and be like and say something stupid. But yeah, I'm just a fucking idiot with dyslexia who just likes to talk a lot. I know about some stuff. It's a lot of stuff I don't know about. I'm just gonna say I don't know a lot about a lot of stuff. But that's why I like to have you all to, you know, inform me on stuff, update me, you know, just help me out.
I used to treat the internet as an escape from my dog shit real life. Truly unhappy, really hated most of everything about myself, and the internet was my escape from it. But now it's really become that real life is the escapism for me now. Like, I love posting and creating things, but I don't like interacting with the internet around me anymore. And it's something that I started to realize a couple months ago, and I've talked about it on stream a little bit, how because I've covered so many like drama stories and everything, it's pretty much all that I ever get told about when I'm streaming, and it's become such a massive headache, and it's just constant negativity that I'm fully flooded with, like at all hours. Like I am in like this human centipede of eating someone's ass while having my ass eaten with even more things that I'm being demanded to
Fucking
like
stupid,
talk about,
bro.
where everything just feels like a lose-lose, and it has been for like the last 6 or 8 months, I feel,
Fucking
where
stupid.
if I talk about something, it's a problem. Even if something is cut and dry, as like Cody Ko having sex with a 17-year-old being bad, I caught a lot of shit for that too. I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't see that, but
What?
man, the amount of emails I got and a lot of
See, I didn't
things
even know
was
about
seeing,
that.
even something as cut and dry as that was an issue when I talked about it. And then if I don't talk about something, or if I don't talk about something fast enough in the time that some people think is appropriate, I'm then accused of covering up for something for an ulterior evil motive. So it just really feels like a rock and a hard place where, regardless, it's just going to be a massive flood of negativity. And a huge critique of me that I've always seen is Charlie's a fence sitter. He's just a fucking fence-sitting enlightened centrist cuck, this and that. And I've always said for the entire time I've been on the internet, I'm not special. I'm literally just a normal guy who got very lucky. I just sit here, joke about shit, talk about my...
Yeah, look, it's okay. Look, I don't care what you think. It's okay to fence it. Look, if I talk about anything like very controversial or something, and we don't have all the evidence, yes, I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to sit on the fence because we don't have all the evidence. This person can be guilty. This person can be not guilty. We don't have all the evidence. Now, once everything comes out and we know everything 100%, and anyone is still riding that fence, something's fishy about that. You got to be on one side or the other. I don't care. Once everything comes out and we know everything, okay?
opinion on things and nothing else. I don't have a unique perspective on things. I don't have deep insight into the vicissitudes of certain things. I am literally just a guy who yaps, has some fun, talks about shit, does some wacky stuff as well. And that's it. It's just not that deep. But because everything is so inflammatory and charged online, it's being perceived in the last, I'd say like the last 2 years, it's really popped off as me making deliberate attempts to appease both sides and play right down the middle to soak up as much as possible. Like it's all this like nefarious scheme where I'm doing this with my hands. And I just don't understand how it's become so incendiary where that's apparently like a really bad thing now. My opinion is not special, and my opinion isn't one that's pandering to any sides or catering to anything. It's literally just whatever's up here. I sit down for like 30 to 45 minutes on like a topic or like a video that I'm joking around about, and I talk about it. I am legitimately just an average, well, below average height guy who's about to turn 30. I'm not just spitting hot takes out the wazoo here.
He's a young bug.
I'm just being myself. That's all this channel ever has been. And now it's become super controversial to do that if it's not like, you know, picking sides on everything, it seems. And it's very frustrating. For the longest time, it was just me having fun, and for the most part it still is, but I've started to recognize over the last few months that some of the things I do just really aren't fun for me to do, and I've been doing them out of obligation. Mainly internet drama. When I initially started covering drama so many years ago now, it was fun, because it wasn't as serious. Like, the stories were a lot, you know, more quirky. It was easy to get invested because it was kind of just like a soap opera, like a really dumb soap opera. But recently it's been much more serious, and I feel the need to talk about these things because a lot of them are extremely serious with very important topics to discuss. But it has become draining. As much as I never wanted to admit it, I've started to recognize that my mood is immediately impacted by whatever I read on Twitter in the morning. If that's some horrible stuff about a creator or what have you, it immediately affects my entire day and my whole outlook on the day. Now I know, call the wambulance, get some French fries, just fucking whining about having to talk about drama. What a stupid problem to be upset about. But I'm just trying to explain that it hasn't been as fun recently. It hasn't. And the main thing, if you've been around the channel for a while, is I've always wanted this to be fun and never feel like a job. And as hard as it is for me to admit this, a lot of this kind of stuff, it has just started to feel like less fun and more of, well, gotta do this.
Hey, how's it going?
Like anytime I go live, most of chat is just telling me about the latest in whatever's happening.
We're just
in the
watching
creator
some
space
videos
or
right now.
Some other like extremely negative thing going on. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn all about that once I turn stream off. So then I spend a few hours learning about these things, and it's all just really upsetting stuff. Like it's not happy. It's all very sad. Bad stuff.
I'm good.
And it's been making me.
We're about to get
happy.
into some games. So
I
last
definitely think I'll be slowing
hour and 30
down
minutes we've been
on
watching
covering
videos.
Internet-related drama or like drama in general. I'll still talk about like really wacky stories and shit like that. But I definitely think I'm gonna be pumping the brakes on like the kind of drama I have been covering recently. And instead, I'm gonna go back to focusing on the content that I'm most happy with. Like, if you ask me what content I'm most proud of throughout my entire time on this platform for the last like 17, 18 years, none of it would be drama coverage. It'd be things
You think
like
my voice is a
Skynet.
bit low?
It'd be things like shooting a potato at a tennis racket to see if you can make French fries in midair by frying them in hot oil. It's shit
What about
like
now?
that. And I think I'm gonna go back to that kind of stuff as opposed to the direction.
How
that I have
how
been
did I
going
sound
recently.
now?
So yeah, this was a lot to go over here, but I hope this has cleared everything up. And yeah, that's really about it.
I'm looking
So,
at the thing. I'm at least higher than. Okay, I don't care about that.
and welcome.
That fucking bitch.